Hello everyone. In this video I just wanted to quickly talk about how to create what is known as autocomplete fields. So when you pick something, it automatically fills up some of the information which is underneath it. So say for example I pick the product ID, then when I pick it, it should fill in the price of the product rather than I having to put the price in there. And somebody asked me a question about it and I thought I'll just make a quick video. This won't be a long one, and it's very interesting. I had been thinking about looking at it and learning it, so I learned in the process too. So I'm still looking at my previous example that I used in the video number 6, I believe, with the customer ID and product. So I'm going to continue with that. And for these things to work, for the autocomplete, you always trying to have relationships. So you gotta have the relationship because you're always pulling up information from some other tables or something. So you gotta have the relationship first. So you know that you can create relationship from here. You can left click and hold it and drag it and drop it here. That's one way of doing it. And I'm just going to close this. And the other way we looked at was when you are in the design view of the table and you can start the lookup wizard, and then you use the first option that I want to look up a field in another table. So you'll find this in my relationship video. And in that, when you do that, you also get to pick the fields you want it to be looking up. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to open up my table order details table here. So you see when I click in the drop down, it finds this information, and this product ID is coming from my table products. So I have this table products which has the product ID, product name, and then the unit price. So what I had done when I did the lookup wizard, I pulled up the product ID, the name of the product, and also the price, but I did not want the product ID 123 listed here. I just wanted the name of the product there. But there are 3 columns here. It's just that the first column I am hiding it. Okay, so that's very important because I've got 1, 2, 3 columns. The first column is hidden. So in Access, the first column is considered 0. This column is considered 1, and then the price column will be considered 2. And this is important because when we pull the information, which we're going to do in the form, it needs to know which column it needs to pull the information from. So I'm just going to close all of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a form for the table order details. So I can go to create, and I've got the form wizard. Now for 2007, remember the form wizard is under more forms. You see form wizard here. So I click it, that is listed here. So you see I've got product ID here and also the unit price. So I'm going to add the fields to my form. Next, next, and it's always good to give the name FRM for form in front of it, and I can click finish. Okay, so now when I go to new record, what I would like to do is that when I pick a product, the unit price comes up here automatically. Alright, so let's look at it. So to do this, we can go to the design view. And before we go to the design view, I also wanted to mention one thing that I didn't clearly mention, and I didn't answer it properly. In the layout view, when I try to change the layout, so see in this one I can change it. So sometimes you find that you cannot change it because all of these are bound to each other. So if that happens, you just right click on any one of these fields, and then you can use the anchoring option to move it around. And when you right click, you can also use the layout option and use the option that says remove layout. You see, if it is tabular, I think they all are joined together. So any fields you wanted to control that you couldn't control, just use the layout option, remove the layout. Now you'll be able to move it around. And you could always add new fields that you didn't have in here. And you can use these options here. You see the add existing fields, so if it's not there you can always choose it and then just drag them there. And you can also go to show all tables, and then you can try to find the fields you want, and you can just drag it in here and then you can layer it. Okay, so to do the autocomplete, let's go to the design view. Okay, and I'm going to click on this product ID, and you can right click and go to properties, or you can just go to this property sheet here on the top. And this is where you just want to look at a few things. One is this name, which is the product ID, because this is something we'll be using. And I'm going to click on this unit price, and I can see the name of this unit price is unit price. And that's why you see naming conventions are good, being a good habit to be consistent, so that you don't make spelling mistakes and uppercase and lowercase. So I want the price to show up from whenever somebody chooses a product ID. So I click on product ID, and I go to this option called event, and I click in the section called after update. There's a third row there, and I click on the dots at the end, and I choose code builder, and I click OK. So when you click on the code builder, you'll get this, and this is where you get into some of the programming thing. And what I want to do is I just want to put in a simple code. So I've just typed it in here, where just ignore the ones on the top, just look at this one. I'm just going to highlight and copy it, and I'm going to explain to you here, and go to this guy here, and I'm going to paste it. So what I'm saying is unit price is equal to product ID. So these are the names of the fields dot column 2. So you see, as I had mentioned, there are 3 columns in that product ID. The first column is not visible, which is just the number 1, 2, 3. So because if I choose 1, it will only put matrix and the name of the book in there, but I want the price, so I've got to make sure I put column number 2 in there. So I can now save it, and I close this. Now I can hit save here too, and I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to click on a new record. So on the bottom there's that arrow with the yellow symbol, and let's see. So if I click here and I choose, say, my book, you see the price 45 shows up there. Now if I want, I can go back to my design view or layout view and do the subtotal calculation too if I wanted. So just to do that quickly, if I want, I can go to the design view, and I click in the box for the subtotal, and I'm just going to put equal quantity, because that's the name of the field, multiplied by unit price. And I hit save, and I switch over to the form view. Let's see if I go to a new record, and I choose a product, and I choose a quantity, say 2, and I hit tab, and there is my subtotal. So I just thought that I wanted to show this quickly, because this is a nice little feature that can be used to fill things up, and usually you cannot do this in the table. This is always done in a form, and you can also have sub forms, like form on the bottom and form on the top and the bottom, and you can fill information from different places. Thanks for watching. Hope this was useful.